Midnight water murmurs the litany of plague-eaten saints, a lullaby for the damned. Plague-scarred Radomir, the herbalist yclept Rot Finger, pulls his skiff toward the drowned groves of Velencian Marsh. Leeches braid his wrists like onyx rosaries. Each suck a penance, each twitch a warning. Moonlight slices through mildewed corpse-yellow haze, revealing willow trunks twisted into rib cages. Wind passes through them, with the timbre of newborns failing their first breath, hook enough to chill marrow. Radomir drags ashore, pustules weeping beneath cracked bandages. He sprinkles rue and crushed grave salt, whispering an old Slavic ward his mother died screaming. Yet the marsh answers with laughter that reeks of feral milk. In the muck gleams the Willow-Fang mortuary bell, half-submerged bronze fanged like a lamprey. Legends say its toll summons spirits eager for carrion. Radomir reaches, breath frosting despite summer. Fingers meet metal colder than widow's tears. The bell jerks free, ringing thrice though no clapper moves. Each note a knell that curdles frogs into silent gristle. Leshy silhouettes unfurl from the tree line. Antler-crowned, bark-skinned, eyes beetle-bright, whispering wagers on how quickly his lungs will drown in spores. Moss blossoms inside his cough. He staggers toward a hollow oak, where runic scars pulse red. Within waits a rusalka's skull, hair still dripping phantom river water, promising cure if kissed. His lips hover, trembling. Kiss given, the skull liquefies into black honey, sluicing down his throat. Sweetness scalds like molten iron, gifting fever visions of Styx ferrymen counting teeth instead of coins. Vision clears. Radomir sees the groves rearranged into a cathedral of roots. Pews are rib cages. Altar is a still-beating boar heart. Weeps blood in perfect chalice arcs. Carrion crows descend, bearing plague doctor masks stitched from human cheeks. They chant, "Deader, deader," pecking open sores for tithe, each beak strike a hooked hymn. The herbalist offers his own severed finger, sliced clean with sickle, and the crows devour it midair, gifting a single molted feather that drips luminous bile. He tucks the feather behind ear, immediately murmurs of the underworld surge, guiding him toward a fen-lit door guarded by two cholera-pale children holding flensing knives. The children barter passage for a bedtime tale. Radomir speaks of Willow kings who fed on famine itself. When he finishes, the knives turn inward, their bellies split like ripe figs, intestines forming a welcome mat. Dread pools thick as rendered tallow. The marsh itself seems to hush, letting horror settle on the hearthstone for one long, shuddering breath. Beyond the door lies the Velencian ossuary orchard, trees grown from femurs, fruiting glassy eyeballs that track trespassers. Radomir plucks one, pops it, nectar tastes of remembered mothers begging. Branches creak into voices. "Eftsoons thy sins shall sprout roots," they hiss. Bark splits, birthing bone-white serpents that weave into his garments, tightening like jealous lovers. A distant toll, Willow-Fang Bell again, reverberates through soil. Every serpent stiffens, then snaps its own spine, releasing spores that sketch his crimes in midair like glowing gnats. The crimes coalesce, images of villagers coughing black roses after his faulty remedies, infants blistering under mist-distilled tinctures. His fault etched in poisonous fireflies. Vomit of shame steams at his feet, yet a path opens, paved by skull shards, toward a shrine where Marana, winter goddess of endings, reclines upon a bier of frozen lungs. Marana's lips chant Greek, Menisti Pharmakon, blending Hades' tongue with Slavic cadence. Frost flowers bloom across Radomir's eyes, blinding him with fractal grief. Her bargain, absolution for brewing a draft able to silence the plague bells forever. Payment, his last happy memory. He nods, memory shredding like parchment in acid. He no longer recalls sunlight. She gifts a thorned vial filled with night-colored ichor, instructs him to seed it in the heart of the marsh where drowned groves beat slow time. As he turns, Marana whispers of a ferryman who rose upstream of death itself. Should Radomir fail, that ferryman shall claim not only souls, but stories, erasing him from all bardic tongues. He gropes forward, still blind. The rusalka feather whispers directions. each syllable bleeding cold across his brain pan. Left at the rib arch, straight past the screaming hedge. Screaming hedge, tangles of briars shaped like human mouths gnaw at him. Briars drink his blood, petals flushing, exhaling honeyed rot that drifts behind like a siren trail. Sight slowly returns, albeit tinted green as corpse mold. Through this necrotic lens, he spies a stag with man hands sprouting from its belly, each palm tattooed with alchemical sigils. The hands beckon, he threads between them, feeling nails scratch promises onto his cheeks. Find the marsh heart, or drown in pus-black regret. Ahead looms a cairn of child skulls stacked to form a lantern. Within flickers foxfire shaped like unborn twins, illuminating a map of veins across muddy earth. A hush descends, foxfire dims, marsh itself holding breath, so dread may moor upon the hearthstone once more, stilling even the lice in his beard. Radomir steps onto the vein map. Ground quivers, unveiling a corridor of submerged cypress whose roots dangle like inverted gallows. Waterline kisses his cracked lips, brackish with plague remnants. From beneath the surface rise hands, albino, webbed of drowned midwives. They stitch kelp around his waist, corseting him for the wedding of flesh to swamp. With each stitch, a midwife whispers the name of a child he failed to save. Tears dilate his pustules, salt stinging rot. Hook deep into soul. The corridor ends at a barrow door knotted from spinal columns. He presses the thorned vial into a vertebra slot, and the door liquefies into screaming marrow. Inside, the marsh heart pulses, a colossal black lung tethered to every tree by worm-thick veins. Each exhale paints the haze corpse yellow. Every inhale steals color from distant villages. Leshy circle the lung, chanting over drums made of night helmets stretched with plague scab. Rhythm quickens, urging the lung toward a birthing spasm of pestilence. Radomir raises the vial, but the lung opens a sphincter mouth, speaking in his dead wife's voice. Forsooth, wilt thou orphan hope itself to cleanse thy name? Knife twist of doubt. He hesitates. Morana's frost snarls across his veins, urging completion. Yet guilt's gravity drags his arm earthward, sweat sluicing into open sores. A rusalka's song slithers through rafters of root, promising reunion in watery beds. Tears burst, chloride bitter. He uncorks vial, scent of oubliette floods air. Lungmouth screams, beats hammer marsh like war drums. Radomir holds vial above the sphincter, hand shaking as memories of laughter he no longer owns flicker futile. Hark, wanderer, smite the rune of liking, and bind thy soul to our cursed fellowship, lest this tale curdle unfinished upon thy tongue. The vial slips, ichor spills, but droplets freeze mid-air, caught by a spectral ferryman rowing through nothingness, or cleaving silence as though water. He tips his cap, skeletal grin. The ferryman offers trade, 5 drops of ichor for 1 final absolution. Radomir bargains with desperation, offering instead the foxfire lantern, soul light of unborn twins. Bargain accepted, ferryman swallows lantern whole, throat glowing pregnant, and vanishes. Ichor restored, but now screaming within glass, hungry for host flesh. The lung thrums impatient. Radomir uncorks vial again, but Morana's voice interrupts, demanding the draft be swallowed, not offered, lest cure become curse. Dread settles anew on Hearthstone in deliberate stillness. Choice cleaves him, drink and bear plague within, or doom the marsh to exhale apocalypse. He recalls village bells tolling like broken ribs, remembers cheeks of dying child mottled violet. He drinks. Ichor brands throat with sigils that ignite bone. Every organ rewrites itself to stone-hard censor, exuding antiseptic frost that scars air. Flesh cracks, letting shards of light leak. Lesions bloom crystalline, yet pain births clarity. He need not kill the lung, only stitch his now purified heart to its veins. With surgical calm, he slices breastbone. Rib spreaders he fashions from finger bones of drowned midwives hook sinew apart. He threads leech rosary through both hearts, knotting penitent knots. Blood, now silver, flows between him and lung, circuitry of atonement. The marsh quakes, trees drooping as though regret-stricken. But equilibrium swerves, Silver blood reacts with lungs rot, forging quicksilver vapor that steams upward, carving holes in sky. Stars bleed down like molten embers. Leshy screech, antlers splintering. They lunge, intending to sever the bond. Radomir's new stone heart pulses shockwaves, shattering Leshy into mulch that still twitches. Yet each Leshy fragment sprouts miniature lungs, billowing fresh pestilence. His victory hemorrhages into fresh nightmare. Hooks multiply. Radomir tears feather from ear. Its luminous bile drips onto sprouts, searing them. But for every burn, 2 more burst forth, hydra-like. He recalls Briarmouth's honeyed rot, an accelerant. He trots back, lungs dragging behind on vein leash, to harvest rot, honey for conflagration. Briarhedge now screams praises, delirious. He slashes vines, honey gushes like melted children's gold toys. He fills broken skull chalice with viscous dread, returns to marsh hard, pours honey over sprouting lesions. Contact breeds wildfire of spore flames, violet and ulcer bright, devouring new lungs. Flames lick main lung, who moans in wife's voice turned banshee. Radomir braces for purgation, as heat steeps silver blood into vaporous mercury prayers. Vapors carve silhouettes of dead villagers. They reach, forgiving, melting into him, weightless absolution reigning. He weeps mercury tears that fall sizzling. Silence, pause. The hearthstone within universe cools, dread settling like frost on an unmarked grave, while all creation inhales uncertainly. Into hush steps the ferryman, boat gliding on nothing. He proffers ledger showing Radomir's absolution, stamped yet unpaid, debt of stories themselves. Ferryman declares the herbalist's tale too potent to end, demands living tribute. Radomir must become lore engine for nightmares, root-bound bardic tree feeding on pilgrims. Roots erupt from his ankles, burrowing, flesh churns to bark scented of formaldehyde. He screams hymns that taste of iron and rosemary. Willow-Fang Bell tolls again, yet this time from within his chest cavity. Each ring flowers spores that drift marshward, rewriting myth topsoil. Rusalka skulls rise like lanterns, orbiting him, their laughter now choir to his bell's solo. Together they weave elegy that bruises moonlight purple. Marana reappears, pleased, crooning that absolution always exacts interest. She plucks a single bark scale, tucks it between her lips like communion wafer. Bark scale unfurls into theater of Radomir's last happy memory. Sunlight on Cauldron Garden, Marana chews, devouring that sun once and forever. Leaving garden in perpetual eclipse, Radomir's stone heart slows. With each beat, seeds rattle loose, black as buboes, dispersing into soil, prophesying forests of plague to come. Leshy remnants bow, swearing fealty. They brandish flayed stag hands as standards, nails clacking morse of future wars. Ferryman inks new stanza in ledger, birth of the bark sin saint, sealing with wax made from fat of degenerate angels. As seal melts, distant village bells tintinnabulate out of sync, each tone rupturing another farmer's sanity. Ripples spread like gossip among corpses. Midwife spirits bind Radomir's tongue with umbilical cords, steering his song toward lullabies potent enough to wither embryos. A mercy, they claim. Marsh tides recede, revealing agape graves where fish wear necklaces of children's milk teeth. They chatter the herbalist's new name, syllables grinding like sensor chains. Above, corpse yellow haze thickens into ceiling. Condensation drips as pus pearls, sizzling upon root skin, carving runes of unsalvation. The world pauses, crickets silence, moon freezes, dread roosts heavy. The hearthstone receiving one last settling tremor before storm resumes. In the lull, Radomir glimpses fate threads. Next pilgrim, a frostbitten nun bearing relics, already trudges marsh path, hope fluttering naive. Roots twitch with anticipatory hunger. Bells within, bark ribcage warm, ready to toll welcome. Yet Radomir's dwindling humanity bleeds plea. Turn back, sister. The plea arrives as fetid breeze, twisting into serpent that hisses sweet deception, guiding none closer. Remorse hemorrhages into soil as fertilizer. Leshy plant plague seeds along her route, sprouting cauldrons of sphagnum that gurgle delirium. Each footstep sinks, yet devotion drags her onward like meat on hook. Ferryman rows parallel, ledger open, tallying viewers to this unfolding carnage, each soul watching counted as silent chorus. Rusalka lanterns swarm noon, shedding illusory fireflies of sanctuary. She smiles, follows them toward Radomir's grove, ankles cracking under unseen weights. Bark sin saint, tremors with hunger, bell rings subaudible, coaxing maggots and nearby carcasses to spell scripture across mud. Nun arrives before him, perceives tree not monster. She touches bark, feeling heartbeats syncopate with prayer beads. Whispers vow to heal it. Radomir's eyes, now knotholes, weep quicksilver. He tries to warn, but Morena's frost muffles. Branches coil round Nun, petting hair like lover. Thorned vial, empty, dangles from his bark. Nun takes it, believing miracle vessel. Branch guides it to her lips, promising cure for unseen sickness. She drinks residual ichor, screams bloom like hyacinths of agony. Flesh glassifies, veins turning centipedes, yet branch cradle persists tenderly. Ferryman stamps ledger, two tales entwined, laughs, voice like chains sliding over tombstone, forecasting nightmares enough for 10 generations. Leshy choir swells, chanting archaic axiom, morrow tide brings rot anew, their antlers interlocking to frame eclipse nimbus above grove. Marsh heart lung within earth beats final convulsion, pumping mercury mist that drifts across land, seeking fresh throats to rewrite. Hooks jab the horizon itself. The herbalist awakens encased in living bark, his screams the lure for the next doomed pilgrim. Story roots deeper, ever hungry, evermore.